Good evening, everybody. I'm Paul. Welcome back to the channel. It's been pretty cold, even below freezing down here in South Alabama the last few days, or few nights, I should say. Warmed up a little bit today, but it rained most of the day, off and on. And when it gets cold like this, I don't spend a lot of time outside. I grew up in Indiana. That's where I developed a dislike for freezing cold weather. So I sit inside and I like to do work on the computer or work in the house, whatever. But these last several days, I was redoing my checklist. That's one thing I've learned since I finished building my airplane and had its first flight 12 years ago, is just about the time you think you've got everything fine-tuned, the checklist evolves from your first one. And now I'm on version, 10.0 over the course of 12 years. But that's okay. Every time you learn something, I update it, relaminate it, and throw the old one away and put the new one in the plane. But over these last few days, one of the things I was doing was thinking about engine problems and engine failures. So, just like anybody, on my checklist, I've got a loss of power or a rough engine or complete engine failure, with the things to do that you would normally do for each of those things. And it got me to thinking about something. I thought, well, suppose that whatever's causing the problem is not what I think it is, and I'm using the wrong checklist, which led me to the thought of, what are all of the actions I can take in my airplane in the cockpit while I'm flying? And I come up with, there's only 6 things I can do in my airplane that affects engine power, performance, fuel, whatever. There's only 6 things I can do. And so I thought, well, rather than have a problem and approach it from this thought process starting of what's causing the problem, therefore leading me to the correct area of the checklist, I thought, why not just list off to the side, which I did, the 6 things that I can do. And if it's one of those things causing the problem solved. And once it fixes the problem, then I can probably figure out what was causing it. And I also had the thought of, I used my imagination and I tried to come up with everything from taking a bird up the air intake, to carburetor icing, to extremely rough engine, to just a gradual loss of power. None of the 6 things on my checklist will make it worse if it's not the right action. So that kind of alleviated any fears of, rather than thinking about what's causing the problem, start trying to fix the problem. And I believe this approach will work better for me. And as an example, just the other day, a buddy of mine at the airport, he said, guess what I did the other day? I took off and all of my EGTs were up. He said, what do you think caused it? And I thought for a couple of seconds, and nothing came to mind in just a few seconds. He said, I took off with a mag on just one side or the other. And I thought, well, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense. In my plane, the only 6 things I can do are, I can turn the fuel pump on, I can rich in the mixture, I can switch tanks, I can do carb heat, a mag check, or open the alternate air source. There's nothing else I can do in the plane. But when he asked me that, rather than trying to think about what causes it, if I had just thought about my little 6 items, then I would have probably thought, oh yeah, magneto. Have a look at the magneto position. Oh look, it's on left or right instead of both. I hope you found this video useful and maybe it provided a little food for thought for you as well. And if you liked it, appreciate a like and a subscribe, and we will see you next time. Stay warm if you're down here in this cold area.